Welcome back, my friends. Welcome back. How's your heart today? Is your heart kind? How's your mind? How's your mind today? Is your mind calm and clear? Excuse me. I don't want to hear that around here. That's religion, he said. Let's talk about the 7 deadly sins. The 7 deadly sins came from, were formed, or thought up by a Christian ascetic in the 4th century. You know what asceticism is? Those are people that practice self-denial and sacrifice for spiritual purposes. And the man's name was, I'll probably butcher this, Evagrius Ponticus. That's the man who thought up the 7 deadly sins. Actually, there were 8 deadly sins. I don't know why I didn't delve into it that deep, but they were narrowed down to 7, okay? If you've been following me for a while, you know I was a Salvation Army Bible school teacher in the 1990s. I also had a nursing home ministry, and I went into jails and prisons. So I studied the Bible, specifically the translations from Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic into English. Nowhere in the Bible does it call them sins. Nowhere in the Bible is there a page that says, here are the 7 deadly sins. There's nothing like that. These Christian ascetics, you know, the people practicing self-denial and sacrifice, this was their lifestyle. Sexual abstinence, simple living, ethical practices, you know, right from wrong. And here's an important fact about asceticism. Now, I mentioned before that when I want to know the definition of a word, not what I think it is, I use a 1951 Thorndike Barnhart dictionary, or I look up the etymology of the word, the root of it. Where was it first used? Who used it? So asceticism was used, it started in the Greek language. And it means practice. Asceticism means practice, bodily exercise, and athletic training. I don't want to hear that around here. That's religion. We'll get to that. Let's go to the foreword of the 12 and 12. Do you have any idea how the 12 steps were created or thought of? Well, in the 12 and 12 on page 16, it tells us the basic principles of AA, that's the 12 steps, as they are known today, were borrowed mainly from the fields of religion and medicine. Let me repeat that. The basic principles of AA, the 12 steps, as they are known today, were borrowed mainly from the fields of religion and medicine. Though some ideas upon which success finally depended were the result of noting the behavior and needs of the fellowship itself. We're in this book, 12 Steps and 12 Traditions of AA. Step 4, page 48. Now let's ponder the need for a list of the more glaring personality defects all of us have in various degrees. To those having religious training, such a list would set forth serious violations of moral principles. Some others will think of this list as defects of character. Still others will call it an index of maladjustments. Some will become quite annoyed if there is talk about immorality, let alone sin. But all who are in the least reasonable, I apologize, but all who are in the least reasonable, I was right the first time, will agree upon one point, that there is plenty wrong with us alcoholics, about which plenty will have to be done if we are to expect sobriety, progress, and any real ability to cope with life. To avoid falling into confusion over the names of these defects and what they should be called, let's take a universally recognized list of major human failings. The 7 deadly sins of pride, greed, lust, anger, gluttony, envy, and sloth. I don't want to hear that around here. That's religion, said a man. Actually interrupted me in a meeting when we were talking about character defects. And if you haven't watched my video, Yes, I Sin, but it's not what you think, I'll put a link in the description. Now, I'm disciplined enough to not start an argument or enter into a debate during a meeting with someone who just interrupted me needlessly. Here's my point about that. Oh, we're on page 49 in the big book. We who have traveled this dubious path, and this is in the chapter We Agnostics, we who have traveled this dubious path beg you to lay aside prejudice, even against organized religion. We have learned that whatever the human frailties of various faiths may be, those faiths have given purpose and direction to millions. People of faith have a logical idea of what life is all about. Actually, we used to have no reasonable conception whatever. We used to amuse ourselves by cynically dissecting spiritual beliefs and practices when we might have observed that many spiritually minded persons of all races, colors, and creeds were demonstrating a degree of stability, happiness, and usefulness, which we should have sought ourselves. Instead, we looked at the human defects of these people and sometimes used their shortcomings as a basis of wholesale condemnation. We talked of intolerance while we were intolerant ourselves. We missed the reality and the beauty of the forest because we were diverted by the ugliness of some of its trees. We never gave the spiritual side of life a fair hearing. In closing, I want to thank everyone who watches my videos. I appreciate it. I want to thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that as well. I thank you for liking the video. I thank you for commenting on the video. And please be nice when you comment. I appreciate that as well. Make it an amazing day. Make it. It's your choice, it's your decision what kind of day you're going to have. And not just that, make it an amazing life. It's your choice, it's your decision what kind of life you're going to have. So why not have a good one? Johan, out. Peace.